well, any sort of dual lanes coming out from this draft is going to be really strong. So the key thing for Newbee is to once again win out in that early game. I think that's always going to be their game plan here. Just they can't cede space to EHOME, because once you do, you've got Alina who can push fast, you've got Fate Beyond on the NP, and he's just a total menace with that hero, just split pushing very hard. You've got to watch out for where he is on the map. And you can't give EHOME that space. You have to kind of slow them down as best as possible, get these team fights going with your Phoenix, with your Storm, with your Centaur, and snowball from there.
Absolutely. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. Of course, the odds are on the screen right now, John. EHOME, the heavy favorites going into this game number 2. We'll see how well that pans out. So I still think Newbee have a very, very good chance of being able to pull this one off. EHOME, they can play very dominantly, as we saw in game 1, so it's quite hard to make that prediction. See. I have a feeling we're going to see EHOME get a lot more aggressive early on this game as well. You have that global presence with the Prophet. It's much easier just to try and set up. Make sure all these lanes go poorly. And for now, Sylar going to try and steal a bounty rune off Wizard. He's playing the off-lane Centaur. It doesn't quite get away with it, but it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade anyway, so it's still a very even start. And I've got to say, for Sylar on this lifestealer, this does not look like the easiest lane in the world. Centaur Phoenix just seems disgusting to have to play against, to say the least.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's not going to be a fun time to lane up against that. Of course, both of these heroes do pretty much just melt through a strength hero like Sylar. He's not going to be able to trade as favorably as you'd expect. I'd say at around level, even level 2 is going to be a dangerous time for him. That Newbee can definitely apply a lot more with the stun and the damage that could come out at that point.
Already White taking a fair bit of damage on that Grimstroke, and it's only due to get worse with YG on that Phoenix. Especially once you hit that level 3 mark and you have the level 2 Fire Spirits. 40 damage per second.
Ooh.
It's pretty disgusting though. Mid lane, AQ falling very low already. Up against Nothing to Say, being forced to salve up quite early on.
Yeah, he copped 2 Light Strike Rays in a row. And the follow-up damage from pure right clicks from something like Alina is just devastating. There we go again.
It's not easy, and I guess this is what I was trying to talk about in the drafting phase, right? Like if you could just dominate the lane like this, AQ, he's got 1 Tango, 1 Fairy Fire, and the Tango's on cooldown anyway, so Nothing to Say. If he lands another LSA right now, it could have been pretty disastrous. But AQ already Fairy Fire, already brings out another salve, and he'll be okay. Though top lane, Faith Beyond falling very low, and Wizard pretty much doing the exact same thing, also losing quite a lot of HP. And everyone seemingly just bringing out more salves as time goes on.
It's not too much of a different story from game 1. We saw this kind of posturing from both teams, just really draining out the gold by committing the resources to sustain their lanes. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we see that same timing for First Blood, right around 5 to 6 minutes in. Unless we see Newbee actually stepped up their aggression. I don't think EHOME's under any pressure to make their lanes work out more than Newbee is. They've got these strong dual lanes that they have to make work.
Mid lane, AQ goes for a Vortex, Nothing to Say. He really wanted to try and go after the Courier of the Storm, and that would have really shut AQ down, but Nothing to Say salves up, and well, the uphill miss. The confidence in this Lina to assume that it would miss anyway and it wouldn't cancel the salve off, just kept auto-attacking away, and poor AQ. That's going to be quite demoralizing if you are the Storm.
Definitely. This lane has been consistently rough for AQ. He's at 5 last hits now, compared to Nothing to Say at 16 to 11. Just a complete domination coming from EHOME, at very least in the mid lane.
It's huge. The other lane we haven't really talked about much is the top lane, where Mugi is on that troll up against Xingqiu and Faith Beyond. Xingqiu is being very, very frustrating with that with the swashbuckle and the lucky shot. Just constantly disarming, though mid lane, there is a gank attempt, nothing to say. He is going to be the first blood. YG rotates in on the Phoenix. He had those level 2 fire spirits, and with AQ and his Vortex, it was more than enough damage to ensure the Lina went down.
Yeah, they definitely needed to put a lid onto that Lina. Just way too much being lost out from AQ. He needs that good start on the Storm. So a worthwhile rotation from Newbee. And you can see the difference from EHOME's draft. They don't have anything on Y to save his course anymore, so he's not going to be bothering TPing in.
Bot lane, Sylar, Inkswell going to be placed on the lifesteal. They do get that massive stun off, but Wizard, just such a tanky target. And has the Ring of Trask anyway, so just huge regen numbers on this Centaur. He doesn't even need to have regen on him. He just passively regen up. They will at least, you know, kind of make him feel a little bit uncomfortable in this lane. And Wizard will just farm underneath his tier 1 anyway. He's not going to be too concerned. YG mid. Once again, looking to try and make a play on nothing to say. AQ still a level behind, but now with the haste rune activated, LSA does land, but YG just jumps in and AQ should be able to get the Vortex, but they have rotations. Faith TPing in. Can he actually help though? Nothing to say, is falling very low and does go down, and now Faith, can you find any form of trade? He cannot. He's forced to back. AQ has the haste anyway, so it's not like he was going to die. And while all that was happening top lane, Mugi was able to take down the Pangoli, who was left alone.
Yeah, that's a big set of wins going the way of Newbee. Just rather unfortunate for EHOME that they aren't finding these early trades, but this is exactly what Newbee needs to get that start going. This is the big difference from game 1. Although Wizard is very low.
Stroke of Fate does connect. He tried to juke it out. He sidestepped a little bit, but it was no good. Wyatt just waited for that perfect opportunity. So you do find the first kill on the board now for EHOME. Something they desperately needed. Sylar will be able to get some free farm going for himself. There's really no contest here without the Centaur. Speaking of that Centaur, by the way, he's 33-3, so Wizards been having a great old time, considering they have been trying to get aggressive, but he just doesn't seem to care. He just keeps farming up very effectively.
I mean, that's just what Centaurs do, right? They don't really lose out in lane, they just find what they need, although down mid, AQ.
Yeah, LSA, all of it being landed. Laguna was used, and AQ cannot sustain that much damage. Faith Beyond and Q returning the favor, and both supports actually rotating down from Newbee, but this may not be good for them as there's 4 heroes in the mid lane from EHOME, just collapsing on mid. The Sprout blocking in Faith. He can't get out of this one, surely. The LSA does land. They will find a secondary, and now YG doesn't have Icarus dive, but Mugi's rotated over on the Troll, and it's just going to be an all-out brawl fest in this mid lane. Faith Beyond drops some trees. The trees will be enough to dissuade the side of Newbee. But man, oh man, it's not too often you see so many heroes like this in the mid lane just behind a tier 1 tower.
Definitely not. That's quite the set of rotations coming out, especially the rotation for Mugi. I think that's a big surprise. Him dipping out to try to find those kills. He doesn't even have his level 6 yet, so he does sacrifice some time farming up. He is going to have to walk back to his lane to get something out, and of course Fate Beyond just teleports around, so not a massive issue for that NP. Surprised Newbee went so far after copying those losses still. Fate Beyond.
Getting chased down, Mugi. Doesn't have mana for Battle Trance, however, he does get it now. Faith's trying to block the way with the tree. It's going to be no good, but the Treants do an effective job of blocking them in. Meanwhile, Q going down to AQ. Sprout, though, from Faith Beyond, he's still trying to outrun them. Teleport, he will get out. The courier may not be so lucky, but Mugi hasn't actually spotted it. Never mind that, though. Mid lane, nothing to say. Going to get jumped on by AQ, and he's level 6 now on the Storm, and that's going to be a double kill coming out for AQ. And this was the problem we talked about as well in that draft phase. Like, once you see AQ at level 6, you just don't have an answer.
Yeah, that's going to be a massive issue for EHOME now. They're going to have to try to take it slow. They need more farm onto Sylar for him to really get going, and
Why? Gets a solo pick off onto Wizard, who was trying to creep skip on the Centaur. And it was a very easy one. It was just an Inkswell and a silence. That's all it took. Still Newbee, they're going to be very, very happy with the way this game's going. They are maintaining a 1k net worth lead for now. But AQ is farming up his Kaya. Got double nullifier or null talismans on the way. Now with the nightmare on Sin-Q. Do they follow up? Not quite. Faith. He's scouted out. AQ's there. Sin-Q will also be there on the Pango, but Faith is dropping rather quick. Stampede going to be there as well. Faith still surviving, but does tick out to the Fire Spirits. And AQ gets away with the killing spree. They'll lose their Phoenix, but they'll be more than happy with taking Faith Beyond's life. More gold for your Storm.
Definitely. It's a much better story here for Newbee so far. They have managed to successfully find these early kills. EHOME has been keeping up at very least 5 to 6. Not too shabby for EHOME. Still Newbee maintaining that slight 1k net worth lead. I think they're going to need a lot more to get going. The biggest factor here is that Mugi basically has free farm up top. So he's not being contested on this troll. And this could end up being a very, very hard thing for EHOME to deal with. A free farm troll. In fact, you know, you don't really see Sylar having that same freedom in his own lane. He's been contested pretty hard from the side of Newbee and EHOME. I don't think they've managed to really relieve that pressure on their Lifestealer.
No, they definitely haven't. Well, with the Lifestealer, it does take a bit more farm, a bit more items to really be as effective as a troll. Whereas the troll doesn't really need too much. So Newbee definitely in the driver's seat. So they are going to look towards that bot lane now. Wizard just trying to secure this bounty rune. He does pick it up, but now the silence flies out of Sylar. He'll join in. But they're not going to get any kind of kill out of this. So Sylar back down to the bot lane. In fact, never mind that. He'll go to the jungle. How many bounties was that each? Looks like one of them may have been denied off. There was 2 to the side of Newbee, 1 to Faith Beyond on the Nature's Prophet. And one of them just disappeared.
Yeah, I reckon it might have been a deny. I mean, no other explanation for it. Every single spot in the map is taken off. Still, again, a bit of a gold injection going the way of Newbee. And they do find themselves at the 2k advantage now at the 10-minute mark. This is big, right? It's a much better story than Game 1. They've certainly got much more momentum going for themselves. It's not quite that massive lead you want to see yet, but it's a good start. And they do smoke up on their Storm.
This could be another big kill for AQ. Gonna run past the Roshan pit down the river. There are 4 heroes here from EHOME. They've also smoked up on Nothing to Say and Sin-Q, so it's a very mirrored kind of play, but Nothing to Say, he has the low ground. He'll get jumped on straight away on that Lane of Faith. Can you lock these guys down enough? No, LSA Laguna, but the Fiend's grip there in time. Now the egg being dropped. Nothing to Say, he does go down on the egg. It will be able to pop all the way, stunning up 2 heroes from the side of EHOME, but the Rolling Thunder from Sin-Q, disrupting everything. They'll find Faith, but they'll lose Y in the process, and now the Troll. Can he survive this damage? Sin-Q, he gets bashed! Oh, the Roshan!
No.
Why would... Oh, Roshan is apparently not happy with EHOME this game. Faith would at least get out on the Prophet, but how unlucky can you get? A first hit bash from Roche himself. That's going to be a 2 to 3 trade for Newbee.
The funny thing is that Sin-Q actually procced the right click on Roche. I think he was trying to go for the deny early on. And unfortunately, you know, his disarm wasn't long enough that Mugi just turned around, saw him at low HP, got the last hit in the end. So rather unfortunate for EHOME, still a really good trade going the way of Newbee. 7 to 9. Looked a bit rough. Like if they actually lost Mugi there, that would have not been worthwhile. But they do still manage to trade much better in the end. And this is going to slow down EHOME just a fair bit. You did lose AQ, but you gained a lot more for all the rest of your heroes. And that's going to definitely help your cause here as they maintain a 3k lead now. The side of EHOME, the side of Newbee at 12.5 minutes in. A much better story than Game 1. And if they can carry this momentum, EHOME, they're going to have more and more issues with that Storm Spirit.
Sylar. At that Bane, but won't be able to quite close the distance. Newbee ripping up his 3 down bot, but you look at EHOME, they're pretty much sticking as 5 now in their own jungle. Not feeling comfortable to really be a part, and I can't blame them for that. Look over back to Mugi. He's going straight for a Sergeant Yasha. And I love the build, right? Because that Sergeant Yasha allows you to fight very, very early on. So he won't go for anything too greedy in this troll. He realizes they have the advantage. They need to keep pushing this advantage. But we'll see how fast he can pick it up and when he gets started with his team. Meanwhile, where's AQ? He does have that Kaya up. And he's going straight into the Bloodstone after that. And once you've got that Bloodstone up, it becomes that much harder to stop AQ because you've got the active to heal you up. But as well as that, he just has so much regen. There's really no need to go back to the base unless you die.
Definitely. It's again, building off the issues EHOME has. They just have no response for this. Sure, they have really good burst under Lina. It's starting to really lack in terms of just blowing someone up, although.
Inkswell going to be there on the Bane. It looks like it should be a very easy +5 kill. Faith knows he can't do anything about that. But nothing to say even rotates down on the Lina. And you could just see the caution coming out from EHOME this game. They're just constantly TPing everyone down, even for a position 5 kill, just to ensure that there's no kind of bait play or no traps being laid from Newbee.
It's mainly because if Newbee brings in their Phoenix, they just, they need superior numbers to deal with that egg every single time, and they need to clump up for that. They're never sure if the supports will show up, and this is a very good smoke coming out from EHOME now. Can they find anything, though?
Oh, they found something big. Nothing to say. He's been left alone. Nice little dodge there. Nothing to say. Can he actually get out of this? The Yules is going to be available in him, and now EHOME jumping in with the Soulbind. They caught out AQ, but they've already lost that Lina. It's not great news as EHOME, they do have to back off. YG, he gets the egg off. Faith Beyond going to be chased down. They will at least find the Bane on the opposing side, but they'll lose their core Prophet. They'll lose Y on the Grimstroke, and it's going to be another 1-for-3 trade in the favor of Newbee. That's a lot of gold and XP going to the way of this Dire side again, and they should be able to capitalize by at least finding this bot tier 1.
Yeah, EHOME not going to be very happy with that trade. None of these fights are just going in their way. Like 9-12 now, and Newbee with a 4K advantage, taking out that tier 1 down bot, slowly but surely taking away resources from the map for EHOME, and the only boon EHOME has is that Sylar is farming up alone, uncontested. So he's got himself quite safe. He's building up towards his Desolator. Is that going to be enough to deal with all of this? Probably not. He's going to need a lot more to take these fights. And as they take their time with her Lifestealer, Mugi just continues to grow big. And we're not seeing EHOME finding these solo pickoffs that they want to have. They just haven't been able to get it rolling anymore.
I think EHOME, they've got to wait out this BKB or nothing to say. Like, I just don't see them being able to fight unless he has it up. We've seen it over and over again. Every single time, they'll jump the Lina and they'll ensure that they don't have that real DPS output they need. SyncQ though, bot lane, gonna find the Bane. Still, just with the Rolling Thunder and Swashbuckle, it's not gonna be nearly enough. Faith will happily walk out on Newbee. They were waiting for the moment where they could just go back in, take the team fight after Rolling Thunder. They think better of it. They may get another chance now anyway. It's EHOME remaining grouped up. Are going to start moving across the river where AQ will get spotted. Do they get the silence off in time? Not quite. AQ immediately out. Now the silence is there, but SyncQ, he can't break the distance with the Inkswell. And well, in the Dire side jungle, Sylar, he's going to get caught on the Lifestealer, but Rage will come out, but immediately the Fiend's Grip and the Battle Trance from Mugi going to be more than enough. Sylar absolutely had no chance of surviving that.
Yeah, there's just no way. Like, they've got the Bane with the Fiend's Grip. He has no way of just getting around freely with his Rage. And this is just issue after issue for EHOME that they have no response for. They smoke up now, trying to find something. Perhaps they can at least get the Centaur.
Nothing to say. We'll catch him out. They do commit Laguna for this with Rolling Thunder. They just want to make sure that they get the kill. They'll be okay with that, but the problem is they're losing their mid-tier 1 while all this has been happening. So Newbee will still be able to capitalize off this Lifestealer death, and their own Centaur death for that matter. And it'll remain 10-13 with a 5k net worth lead for Newbee going into this. It's just no end in sight. I just don't know what you can pick up here for EHOME apart from that BKB on the Lina to really turn this around. Looks like Sylar is going for a Deso. So armlet Deso build, fairly standard stuff for Lifestealers right now. they're still going to have that control with the Bane Fiend script though.
Yeah. It's rough, right? He's gonna need something like perhaps a Lincoln's down the line, but it really doesn't do too much for his damage output, and it does feel like EHOME is kind of lacking there. You saw how much they had to commit for a Centaur kill. I don't think that's going to carry over too well when you're trying to kill off the Storm Spirit AQ. He has his Bloodstone now, so it's going to be just that much harder to burst down that Storm Spirit as well. And of course, the Troll can delay these fights with a Battle Trance for a bit longer. So you've got some pretty good ways of prolonging these fights in EHOME. They just don't really have anything.
They've smoked up again. And nothing to say, actually switching out the BKB now. He goes for a Kaya and he's going for a Bloodstone. Interesting play, interesting decision. I should note that the Orchid is now up on Faith Beyond, so perhaps they feel as long as they lock AQ down with that silence, they don't need the BKB yet. I suppose I could agree with that. AQ though, with his Bloodstone up, looks to get a BKB of his own next. And they will smoke up now. All ultis are available on both teams. EHOME, they showed themselves up top, and this could be really bad for them as Wizard jumps in and gets a double hoof snap off straight away on Faith Beyond. They need to keep that Prophet alive, and AQ zips forward again, straight on that Lina. Soulbind gonna be there, but now the Phoenix Egg being dropped, it's all too much. What do you aim in this team fight if you're EHOME? The answer is nothing. You just die. As everyone just melts, and the only man to walk out, ironically enough, is the man they jumped first, which was nothing to say.
Yeah, this is just going from bad to worse for EHOME. They have nothing to stand up against what Newbee has. They have way too many ways to eat right through Sylar's immunity. They've got a lot of damage coming out now. They've got great initiation. They've got so much synergy with their Stampede and their Storm Spirit that everyone can just follow up these fights quite fast. And this is going to allow them to take that Roche as well, so they're going to have a bit more freedom in taking these fights. They are going to have to wait perhaps for the next Supernova to be up. But even then, I don't think they necessarily need to. They just need to be able to jump someone straight up, and suddenly there's just no way to deal with that for EHOME. Like, if you catch this Lifestealer off guard, he doesn't have anything to really toggle on.
Uses the Orchid on the Bane, but AQ was zipping in from a distance, and Faith, he can't even find the Pos 5 Bane. AQ with a huge jump across the map, just on point thanks to the vision Faith was providing. Now the net worth lead at 10k, 21 minutes in. It's going to take a while for them to try and come back from this, and it's going to start being a question of whether it's even possible now. Like, Mugi's got a BKB on the courier coming his way. AQ's going to have his own BKB soon, so suddenly all that magic damage output not really going to be that effective. And again, nothing to say, he kind of switched his build to a Bloodstone, but I don't think that's the play.
The sustain would be nice, but the issue now is really just surviving. The BKB would allow him to stay a bit longer. Maybe he's questioning that value because of the Fiend's Grip and the Supernova stun. Like, those can still be a threat to the BKB. I think you just need it, just ensure that at least one of your cores will be able to stand up. So if they do commit the Fiend's Grip on the Lina, Sylar's at least able to tear through some hero at some point.
Mid lane, they have found the Lina once again, though Soulbind again going to come out, but it does nothing to help. Now why? Inkswell will at least connect on to, but you've got AQ who wasn't affected by the Inkswell at all, and he does have the damage output to finish the job off himself. They do lose YG in the process, but you found a core Lina and a support Grimstroke. No problems with that.
Definitely not. Still a pretty good trade going the way of Newbee. And that should allow them to apply some pressure on this mid-tier 2. So EHOME now slowly but surely losing space on the map. And you'd expect a bit more space with something like the Prophet, but Faith Beyond has not been split pushing as effectively as you'd expect, and they get a good scan out onto this NP as well.
They certainly do. Faith getting zipped on right now, though AQ, he stops a bit early on. Faith. Be careful, he should see that Phoenix rotating now. YG, they know where he is, but the teleportation will be there. They will get the D ward off, and the Would have been really disastrous had Faith just died by himself. The game just doesn't get any better for them. How's our Lifestealer's farm? It's going for an AC up next. It's got the Hyperstone. And I don't think that's really the issue here, though. Mid lane, they have jumped. They found the Pango. Sin-Q was just trying to push out the mid wave, but Newbee can just close the gap so quick. You really can't spend an extra second if you can afford not to.
No, definitely not. Newbee can just slow push like this just by having their center stand in front and cop that damage, as we saw in the last game coming out from EHOME that time. Newbee in a very good position to start pressuring this high ground. EHOME still has no answers. It's 11 to 21, 12k advantage for Newbee at 24 minutes in. And EHOME already pretty much forced into their base. They do have one last outer tower on their top lane, but that's it. They still need a lot more on their profit. They need a lot more on their Lifestealer before these guys can come back in and start fighting again, because so far it's been complete dominance coming out from Newbee with its draft.
Sylar in the mid lane. This is a very dangerous position. Newbee won't make the jump as AQ wasn't really around. I think you do need the Storm follow-up if you want to really ensure your victory in these fights. AQ just going to force in the bot lane and join his team once again. This is still great time for EHOME. The longer they can drag this out, the better their chances. Speaking of chances, we should have a look at the Dota Plus win probability right now, which is currently 2% for EHOME. That's as low as you possibly get, really. I mean, you can get to 1 and 0, I guess. Sylar does get the Infest off in the Mud Golem. Gonna make a run for it, but they have the Vortex. AQ holds him down. Rage will be popped, but the Fiend's Grip again gonna stop him. Still, he does go down. Rolling Thunder from Sin-Q tried to control up the side of Newbee, but it's no good. And Sin-Q looks like he may go down as well as AQ. Just trying to force him. Aegis does expire just in time for AQ as he walks out. But they'll get that top tier 2 tower, and look at that bot lane, John. AQ setting up to go on Nothing to Say, it seems. Or is that a bounty rune we're seeing? Alright, there's a bounty there, but as soon as he gets that bounty, Nothing to Say is in vision.
Yeah. I believe Nothing to Say just use LSA as well, so...
Oh boy.
Doesn't really have a way to stop this one.
He has the Yules, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
Oh no.
Very awkward moment for Nothing to Say. AQ gets Yulesed up. Nothing to Say, going to go for the immediate TP. AQ, he knows, but he doesn't get the Vortex. Goes a bit too forward.
A bit too far. Would have been a nice kill to pick up. Just additional charge, and his Bloodstone really just denying any more coming out from EHOME. Still, Nothing to Say, gonna be happy that he does get to escape. Not much he can really do at his time, though. Like, they can't really farm up into their jungle. If they go up there right now, it's gonna be rough. The supports are gonna find
They're gonna go for a fight. Faith Beyond. Silence is there on the Bane. They can afford to just go after a pos 5. And the Silence should tick him out. No, apparently it doesn't. Sunray will be there. Stroke of Faith. They still haven't finished him now. Hoofstop. Wizard looking to turn it around. And poor Faith getting caught out as Y. Getting zipped on by AQ. And he just melts. AQ now with an Orchid of his own. And that is just so demoralizing to watch. They couldn't even find the pos 5 kill. And they'll lose 2 of their own in the process. And the tier 3s are now going to be open to Newbee. And it's almost a repeat of game 1, except it's for the opposite team.
Oh yeah. It's rough. EHOME really has no defense, especially without that Soulbind. They just have no control here. Did you get the heals up?
No mana. Laguna going to be there. Rolling Thunder, can they lock him down long enough? We're not with that egg in place. Nothing to Say, getting jumped on by Mugi and does get taken out even without the Battle Trance. And there's the GG call. EHOME, they understand they can't do this any further. That'll be it. We will be going to a game 3, luckily for us, John. And of course for the viewers. In EHOME, they were the heavy favorites going into